And let's just get right into it. Today, we're going on a journey to Morocco, and Jean-Bernard is going to give us an update on the current situation there. And I'm sure we're all curious to hear exactly what's transpiring and when it's going to open again. And then we've put together with much difficulty experiences and highlights to share with you. There's so many amazing things to see and do in Morocco, so we tried to tighten it up and share some of our favorites. And then after this presentation, I'm going to be following up with you with a destination guide, with a video, so there's going to be an opportunity to learn more. So let's jump right in, and Jean-Bernard, please tell us, how are things in Morocco right now?
All right. Well, first of all, good morning, everybody. I'm really happy that Karim organized this. It's always a pleasure to talk about my country. We right now have in front of us a picture of the Madrasa Bouania in the city of Fez. That's a Quranic school that was built in the 14th century. But the pictures quite reflects quite well what's happening in Morocco. You can't see anybody in the courtyard. So let me give you an update of where we stand. Morocco is a country with 37 million people, and our king reacted very, very quickly to the crisis, giving priority to its people. So on the 2nd of March, we had our first case, a lady who traveled to Italy and came back to Morocco. 16th of March, we closed the borders. We had 3 days notice. We managed to get all our clients out within those 3 days, even from remote places. That was a bit of a marathon. At that time, we had about 30 cases in the country. On the 18th of March, the authorities imposed the confinement policy, stay-at-home policy. Basically, all school closed, only food retails, pharmacy, remained open, but businesses like us could remain open because we have no interaction with the public. Today in Morocco, we've had a total of 7,000 cases since the beginning. 4,000 have recovered. We still have about 2,800 active cases and a total of 194 dead. We only had 3 deaths since the 8th of May. So clearly we are on the tail of it for us. That being said, the authorities have just announced yesterday that the confinement will last for another 3 weeks. So we're planning to reopen around the 8th of June. What happened at the beginning when the lockdown was imposed, the army took place in most of the sensitive area, mostly heavily populated, poor sides of cities, etc., to assist in keeping the people at home. Surprisingly or not, I don't know, the Moroccan population has been very receptive to those measures and quite disciplined. So we haven't had any major issues in organizing and keeping the lockdown. In order to circulate, we need to have authorizations, either given by the company, so I gave to most of my staff authorization to come to work, or by the local authorities. In that case, it's maximum 1 authorization per family to go shopping, to go for food supplies and stuff like that. Very quickly, from the very beginning, the king asked the textile and paper industry to switch their production to masks. And after a few weeks of confinement, we were already producing about 5 million masks a day, meaning that we have sufficient supplies of masks for the population. And we are now exporting masks. I think on Sunday, we had a big cargo delivering something like, I don't know if it's 50,000 or 500,000, I'm not too sure, masks in GFK. So that is the situation now in Morocco. And with that, I hand over to Karim.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jean-Bernard. So now that we know what things are like now, I think we're all eager to hear about what things are going to be like when we visit, when we're through this, and what we all have to look forward to. So we're gonna, take you on an experience here. And right now we had a video we wanted to play, but the technology gods were difficult with our Zoom connection. So I'm gonna be sending that to each of you separately. It's a beautiful 2-minute video for you to enjoy. But in the meantime, we're gonna just go through a quick visit of 3 areas which I love. We're gonna start out in Fez, and I brought up the map here so you can get an idea for the size of the country and the area we're going to be visiting. We're going to start up in Fez, which is at the very top, that circle. Then we're going to go down into the desert, and then we're going to finish in Marrakech. And starting with Fez, I've been to Morocco a few times and was actually planning to go again this year, so I hope that's able to happen. But Fez was a destination I finally got to on my 2nd visit, and it really exceeded expectations. I'm gonna, let Jean-Bernard do most of the talking, but quickly the images you're seeing there, the tanneries, I was just amazed to go with our guide and to just walk through the tanneries and see what's happening there. And to walk the Medina, I still will never forget just the labyrinth of maze-like streets there. You see the image on the lower left. The old city is unbelievable, and you just wonder how anyone can get anywhere. Yet we had our guide that knew exactly every single turn and nook and cranny. So Jean-Bernard, tell us about Fez. What makes it special?
Thanks, Karim. To me, Fez is really one of the key highlights in Morocco. It is the heart of the Arabo-Andalusian culture. Basically, the Arab came from the Middle East in the 8th and 9th century. They settled in Fez. From there, they went to Spain for 800 years. And around the 10th to the 12th century, Al-Andalus, that we call Andalusia, was a region that was going all the way from Spain to southern Morocco. So Fez is the capital of the Arabo-Andalusian culture. Every country has a city where the people think that they are doing it right and better than anybody else. In Morocco, it's Fez. Fez is a city that was, construction started in the 9th century. We have 2 parts in Fez. We actually have 3. But the one we mostly visit are the old Fez and the new Fez. The old Fez is from the 9th century. The new Fez is from the 12th century, so not that new. And what makes Fez really amazing, it's a trip back in time. Karim mentioned this maze of streets. Fez is a maze of 9,000 streets. Some of them are barely large enough for one person to walk in it. In the Medina of Fez, you will only see pedestrian donkeys and hand carts. Most of the heavy goods delivery are made by donkeys. Fez is a place where you still have the guy making the teapots, next to the guy sewing the slippers, next to the guy selling live chicken and beheading them in front of you. We are moving like 200 or 300 years back in time. So just that feel is already amazing. The architecture is incredible. It's also a place, there is something which is very important in Moroccan history. It's the Jewish heritage. When Islam arrived in Morocco in the 9th century, about 35% of the local population, the Berber tribes, were following Judaism. And the intelligence of the founder of Islam is to go to those Jewish tribes and tell them, you guys have nothing to fear from us Muslims, we're all sons of Abraham. We're going to build that country together. And Fez is an amazing example of that history. We still have, as I mentioned, a lot of craftsmen in Fez. So in addition to the visits, there are a lot of very interesting experiences, such as, spending a couple of hours with a master craftsman, doing either some pottery or some leather work or some ceramic works. There is a lot of things in Fez to do. Fez also is close to a former Roman city, the city of Volubilis. And it is said that it is the Roman in the 2nd century that brought wine into Morocco. The region of Fez and Meknes produce a lot of wines, including some good wines. And I'm from French origin. I love my wines. I can tell you some of them are really good. And we can do wine tasting in that region. So that is for Fez, Karim.
Great, perfect, perfect. So from Fez, we're going to move right to the desert. And I've had many desert experiences in many different places in the world. And the Sahara is just unbelievable for so many reasons. The picture on the upper left, driving through to get to the desert, you pass by all of these old fortresses and you can explore them. And the architecture is incredible. And on my last trip, and it's a long drive to get there, but well worth it. But on my last trip, we drove through down to the desert, passed through these kasbahs, and then literally we started going off-road into the middle of nowhere, could only see sand on both sides. We stopped the four-wheel drive vehicle, and then there are camels there for us to get onto. And literally, this was my view. On the right, if I was holding my iPhone camera up, that's what I saw for the next 10, 15 minutes, being led through the desert to who knows what. And lo and behold, this incredible camp that Abercrombie and Kent set up. And at the time, I was wowed. I loved it. We had entertainment, a beautiful dinner. I thought, great, this is how everyone does the desert in Morocco. And it's not the case. So I thought it would be interesting to have Jean-Bernard tell us the secrets of ANK's desert experience, because literally when I got off of my camel, there was not a footprint in the sand. It was as though Jean-Bernard's team came and raked the sand so that I would make the first footstep. So Jean-Bernard, how do you do that?
Well, that's what we're gonna see. But before we move to the next slide, I just wanted to add something. As Fez, to me, is one of the major cultural highlight of Morocco, this region of the south and the Sahara is the other real highlight of Morocco, not only because of the sceneries of the Sahara Desert. This is the land of the Berber. This is the land of the nomads. This is the land of the Kasbah, the mud forts, as you can see on the upper left picture. This is the land of the Oasis. It's a totally different culture, totally different civilization to the Arabo-Andalusian civilization. And in order to properly discover Morocco, one have to go to Fez, but also to see that side of Morocco. Now, when we come to the desert, there is something you need to know. We don't have so many sand dunes, what we call the erg, dune fields in Morocco. And about 14 years ago when I started, I initially decided that the ANK desert experience had to be an exclusive experience. And in order to guarantee that, I moved into mobile camping equipment. And I think it was a very good move because the picture you have in front of you is a satellite view of Erg Shebi, which is one of the main dune field in Morocco. And if you look at it, you see that almost between every dune, there is a campsite. So if one campsite plays disco music and the one next to it plays drums and the other one plays lounge music, you know, it's an absolute nightmare. You know, you're staying in one camp and at night you could probably hear the snores of the people staying in another camp. This is not the kind of desert experience that we want to offer. And we decided to move to another location. So that picture shows another dune field, which is about 10 kilometers further south of the previous dune field we saw. And there, in that dune field, there is a very, very small amount of camps. And I have secured the the lower parts of that dune field. I have secured a concession there. So when we set up a camp, we set it up exclusively for our clients. So if you're a group of 6 friends, I'm going to put 6 tents. If you're a big group of 15 people, I will put 10 tents. If you are just one couple that want a romantic experience in the desert, I will only put 1 tent in the desert. And I think that's really makes the difference. By doing so, we ensure the pristine sands. If you go to a permanent camp, they would have had clients the night before. The dunes around would be covered with footprints and cigarettes. So that is really, how can I explain it? That is my vision of the Sahara Desert. This is an area that I really love. I've been there very, very often. I've been scouting a lot of desert parts all the way to Senegal. I've even run expeditions all the way to Dakar. And I just want to make sure that when we take people to the desert, we give them this most amazing experience of feeling the desert, listening to the sound of silence in the desert, which is so impressive. So that's my desert part.
Thank you, Jean-Bernard. Thank you. And another highlight of Morocco for me is always the just beautiful accommodation everywhere. And unfortunately, we don't have 5 hours to go through all of my favorite hotels in Morocco, but one that I just loved, which I was already knocked over by the desert experience. I thought, how can it get better than this? And I was sad to leave. And they say, okay, you have to go, and we're going to stop and we're going to take you to lunch at a nice hotel that is made out of a kasbah. So I thought, you know, great, it's going to be a letdown after the desert. And I couldn't have been more wrong. And as you see in front of you, this is Dar Ahlam, which is this incredible oasis right outside of the desert. Jean-Bernard, tell us a little bit more about Dar Ahlam.
Well, I mean, this is my absolute favorite spot outside of the Sahara Desert in Morocco. No, it's true. Dar Ahlam, Dar mean house, and Ahlam mean dream. So Dar Ahlam is the house of the dream. It used to be a Relais Chateau property. It's a small boutique property with only 12 suites, totally exclusive. But there, luxury is not about gold and marble. Karim, can we move to the next one? You see, the deco is quite simple. It's super comfortable. Luxury there is about the experiences. Now we can move to the next one. What is amazing in Dar Ahlam is, for example, you see on the left-hand side, they have little irrigation channels in the garden to bring the water. And they would organize a lunch with your feet in the water by putting cushions on each side and a low table. Every single dinner, every single meal, every single lunch they create is totally private to one party. So if you're a group of friends, you're going to be together. If you're just a couple, it's just going to be for you. They put together some amazing deco sceneries, like the picture on the upper right. There is something, they provide a lot of different experiences. There is one which I really, really loved. The first time I went there with my family, and they took us to a surprise sandowner. So we got onto 4x4s. We get onto a very, very bumpy road up in the mountain, and we stop in the middle of nowhere in the mountain on a small plateau where there are a few carpets and a few candles, making a path through the mountain. And we climb for, I don't know, maybe a couple of 100 meters. And we see those walls of a fort, a very old abandoned fort. We enter the fort. In the middle of the fort, you have those carpets everywhere and cushions and lanterns. And one of the wall of the fort collapse, and you have the most stunning view over the Oasis of Skoura, which is the oasis where the property is. And here you have the sun, which is going to go down right in front of you. It's just incredible. That's the kind of thing that they do in Dar Ahlam that make this place so unique.
Right, right. I can't wait to go back. But for now, we are moving on to Marrakech. And Marrakech was my first stop in Morocco on my very first visit. It's where I met Jean-Bernard for the first time, and it just never ceases to amaze me. I remember touching down, getting out of the plane, and just being completely struck by the red sand against the snow-capped mountains. I mean, it was unbelievable. And it's just highlight after highlight in Marrakech. The Majorelle Gardens, the Koutoubia Mosque. Those are some of the images here, but I'm going to let Jean-Bernard go into some more detail about what there is to see and do in Marrakech, and to hopefully tell us some more about the incredible hotels that are there.
Yes, indeed. So Marrakech, to me, is the third highlight of Morocco. Why? Because this is where Berber meet Arab. The city was originally Berber. It became an imperial city. So the Arab moved in and created those masterpieces of architecture like the Koutoubia Mosque that you see on the right-hand side. But basically, that city was designed to host the caravans coming from Timbuktu, Mali, Senegal, across the Sahara Desert. So from the very beginning, Marrakech was cosmopolitan. And still today, Marrakech is the most cosmopolitan city in Morocco. That is where I live. I'm talking to you live from Marrakech. And it is an incredible city to live in. Very, very pleasant. But what makes it so special? Yes, the monuments, the architectures, the scenery, but also the vibe in that city. This is a multicultural city with lots of people coming from many different countries. And there is a special vibe in Marrakech. This is an artistic center. We have a lot of designers, a lot of art galleries in Marrakech. And its people. We're going to talk about Yves Saint Laurent shortly. And its people. The people in Marrakech are super welcoming, super open. It's really a delight to live in. We had a picture on the previous slide of a blue house. This is the house. This house was built by Jacques Majorelle when he designed the Majorelle Garden. Then when he died, Yves Saint Laurent and Pierre Berger bought the house and bought the Majorelle Garden. And then Yves Saint Laurent and Pierre Berger built their own little house, which is on the side of the garden called Villa Oasis. And they used to spend a lot of time in Marrakech. So some of the highlights to visit in Marrakech are the Majorelle Garden, but also the Yves Saint Laurent Museum. And we can organize a private visit to, this is the Yves Saint Laurent Museum collection. We can organize a private visit to Villa Oasis, the house where Pierre Berger and Yves Saint Laurent used to live. And the people who take you there will show you where Yves Saint Laurent was staying when he was drawing all his collections. And basically, Yves Saint Laurent was such a complicated designer or artist. He was never satisfied with what he was drawing. So he was systematically wrapping all his drawing and throwing them out of the window. And Pierre Berger was actually on the ground floor in the garden, running before the winds take the papers away to grab the papers. And that would be the next Yves Saint Laurent collection. When you visit the Yves Saint Laurent Museum, you realize how Yves Saint Laurent design has been impacted by his way of life in Marrakech. A lot of his designs are not, well, quite a few of his designs are inspired by the Moroccan culture. So it's super fascinating visit. But we have a lot of other designers and artists. For example, there is a French gentleman called Jean-François Fourtou, who is a French sculptor. He created in his house or around his house, he has a big property, different pieces of art. One is called The House Fallen from the Sky. It's a real size house, which is built upside down with all the furnitures hanging on the ceiling. And we can take you for a private visit of that house. It's very odd because, I mean, basically you're walking on the ceiling and you're looking up at the furnitures hanging above you. Another of the house that he built is called the House of the Giant, where all the furnitures are 4 times the size of normal furnitures. So when you walk in there, you feel like you're a 4-year-old baby walking into his parents' room. You know, and we have a lot of crazy experiences like that. We work with some of the designers. I have a friend who's a designer. She's a French interior designer. She's a member of the Designer Associations of Marrakech. So with her and through her, we organized private visits to designers. Karim, you asked me, you know, who is the designer that has the same name as you? He is one of the most famous and amazing kaftan and clothes designer. He doesn't only design clothes, kaftan for ladies. I have several shirts and something we call jabador, which is a long jacket designed by Karim Tassi.
That's what I'm wearing for our webinar today. This is my
really? Oh my gosh, yes. So there is a lot of things to do in Marrakech, and all around Marrakech, we have the Atlas Mountain. We have amazing glamping experiences with top celebrity chef and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
But one of the other thing, and yes, I can hear you saying, oh my God, I totally agree with you. We have some absolutely stunning properties in Marrakech. And I would like to talk about the Royal Mansour. The King of Morocco is quite a wealthy man. I think he's in the top 10 Forbes. And he wanted a place to receive his royal friends, to impress his royal friends, and to showcase Morocco. He created the Royal Mansour. It is considered by most of the travel professionals as one of the top 5 hotels in the world. He used thousands of master craftsmen to design the hotel. Everything there is just close to perfection. It is the hotel itself, and staying at the Royal Mansour is already an experience on its own. Let's add to that, they have a fabulous service. Their food, their restaurants are stunning. I grew up half in Paris and half in Morocco. I've been living in Morocco for many, many years. Every time I go to the Moroccan restaurant of the Royal Mansour, I am always wow. I said, oh my God, they took this very simple, super traditional recipe that everybody eats everywhere in the street and transform it into something which is just unbelievable. They also now recently opened an Italian restaurant, which is called Sesamo, which was designed and supervised by a chef called Massimiliano Alangemo. He is the youngest chef in history to get 3-star Michelin. He got his 3rd star Michelin in 2002 at the age of 28. I've been to that Italian restaurant. I have an auntie who's Italian, pure Italian from Italy, a bit like the mama, you know, she cooks Italian cuisine like to die for. She went to the Royal Mansour, she came back and she told me, JB, this Italian restaurant there, I can't believe it exists. So that is the Royal Mansour. It is a fabulous property. Now, we don't only have, of course, the top of the top. We can offer very different type of experiences in Marrakech. This property you have here is called Villa des Orangers. It's a Relais Chateau property. It is a riad. So a riad is a traditional Moroccan home that has been converted into a boutique hotel. And it's very surprising. I mean, it is in the heart of the Medina. When you get there, first you see a little wooden door, you know, with a little brass sign saying Relais Chateau. On the left-hand side, you have an old tire repair shop. On the right-hand side, you have an old bicycle repair shop. And you're wondering, what am I doing here? What is this place? You push the door, you get into the corridor, and you arrive into this incredible Andalusian patio. Their food is relais chateau level, so it's just exquisite. That is another example of what we can do. But we don't only have, you know, $1,000 or $2,000 a night experiences. We also have lovely little riad like Les Jardins La Médina. This is a $200 a night experience. Or we even have another one called Les Jardins d'Enya, which is $100 a night experience. You know, that is the beauty of Marrakech. We can create so many different experiences. So that's what I wanted to say about Marrakech. I need to stop because Karim told me I need to be short. And if you let me, you know, you'll still be here tonight at 6.
Well, thank you, Jean-Bernard. I think it was great, all of your insights and comments, and really making us all not want to be quarantined in our homes right now. I wanted to close the formal part of the presentation with talking about what makes the experience different with ANK, and also using it as an opportunity to thank Jean-Bernard and his team. To me, and I know most of you on the call today, I think it's safe to say that I travel a lot. I've been to many different places around the world. And when I go to Morocco, there's never anyone who meets me there other than someone from ANK. And the same with all of our travelers today. I really have the utmost confidence and gratitude for everything they do in Morocco. And I hope the presentation today showed you the level of care, the level of thoughtfulness. So I wanted to publicly say thank you to Jean-Bernard and to ANK for always making the experiences so special for both myself, but more importantly for all of our travelers who are often coming to Morocco from the US for the first time and not knowing what to expect, and maybe having it be their first experience in the Arab world and just being wowed and pampered and spoiled. So thank you, Jean-Bernard. And maybe you want to add something as well about what makes the ANK difference.
Well, thank you so much, Karim. As you know, your words are going straight to my heart because I'm quite passionate about Morocco and what I do. You may have noticed. What makes us special or different? I mean, you've seen already through the concept I have of the Sahara Desert Camp, for example, that I'm not here just to sell beds and, you know, and take the people quickly through Morocco. I'm here to share experiences, to create experiences that visitors will take back home with fond memories. So a lot of things, a lot of that is based on the fact that I am the local expert. I live in Morocco. I grew up half in Paris and half in Morocco. My family on my father's side arrived in Morocco in 1919, just after the First World War. So I combine a little bit of both words, the Moroccan culture and also the Western culture, which helps to create experiences that works. We have connections. I mean, I mentioned my friend who's a designer. We also have connection with art galleries. The general manager of the Royal Mansour is a very close friend. We have all those connections to make it happen in safety in Morocco. And that is the next thing which really set us apart, I believe, is that yes, we are a financial company, we are a travel company, we're here to make money, but never at the cost of security. This is something that is absolutely paramount in the DNA of ANK. It's all about health and safety. It's all about the experiences and making people happy. I'm going to give you quickly a couple of examples. When the Arab Spring, which had nothing of a spring for any Arab, hit Egypt, we, Abercrombie and Kent, chartered a 757 and organized 3 rotations to evacuate all our clients out of Egypt, while the State Department could not evacuate a single person. On our last rotation, we took 50 staff from the State Department out of Egypt. when many years ago, there was something really bad happening in Mumbai where a hotel was attacked by terrorists and they took people hostage. I mean, our team on the ground, we're so proud of them. Our operation team on the ground with their yellow tie and their yellow badges walked into the hotel through the fire ladders of the fire brigade while the police and the army were giving the assault on the ground floor to retrieve our clients one by one because we knew in which room they were. And it's an ANK guy with a yellow tie that went to them and say, hello, sir, hello, madam, I'm with ANK, come with me, we're taking you out. This is what ANK is about. And for us, health and safety is absolutely fundamental. And currently, you know, with the current situation, we are revisiting everything we can, revisiting all the process we can to ensure that when we will say it's okay to come, it's because we strongly believe that we can ensure the experiences in safety. And that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Jean-Bernard. Thank you so much. So now I wanted to give others the opportunity to ask questions. And yes, you can ask Jean-Bernard the price of any carpet in this photo. He's told me to answer that. So, but you've all been such a great audience. Just jump in if you have a question.
Reem, it's Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, everybody. I'm on my big screen monitor. That's why I don't have a picture. I wanted to see Marrakech in a big view. I just had a question. What's the best time of year to travel there?
Very good question. Let's say from 15th of June to 15th of September, don't even talk to us.
Oh,
This is where we have over 100 degrees. It's way too hot. The nicest season would probably be October and March, April. I personally love winters in Morocco. So let's say from October to April, May, knowing that May, it can be a bit hot. The big difference is if you travel to Morocco in December, January or February, because our climate is very close to the desert climate, the days are quite cool. I mean, we are in like, what is 20 Celsius? That's about 60, 70
Yep.
During the day. But at night, it can go close to freezing, like 2 or 3 Celsius. In the desert at night, it can be very, very cold. So I would say best time to travel, October and mid-February to early May.
Great, thank you.
Great question. So since everyone's being a little bit
I
shy,
do have a
maybe
question.
Oh, please go ahead.
Jean-Bernard and hello, friends. It's Fritz here. You know, I'm wondering about the health protocols and traveling to Morocco at this point, whether the government has provided any guidance about when the travel for Americans will be permitted. You know, there are differing things going on with Greece and different European countries. I'm wondering, how will Morocco handle travel from the U.S. to your country? And what I know it's probably impossible to determine at this point, but what does your crystal ball tell you?
Thank you for that. And you rightly said, you know, it's all about crystal ball right now. One thing which is sure, we would have gone into something like 2 months and 3 weeks of confinement. The king has given absolute priority to protect its people. So the likelihood of us reopening with countries which still potentially represent a threat to Morocco is very slim. That being said, tourism is the second most important economy in Morocco. Morocco will have to reopen, otherwise we are going to be in big trouble. I am a member of the Committee of Tourism dealing with the government, and we are talking about the reopening and how we're going to do it. Honestly, I do not anticipate any opening with any foreign country before probably later this summer. Maybe early September would be an optimistic approach, more likely October, November. That is what my crystal ball is saying now. But what we are focusing on now is more the protocols that we're going to use. How are we going to do it? It's very likely that we are going to open first to countries which have the virus under control. So which haven't had any new cases or things like that. So providing that the information we get out of them is accurate, it's likely to be probably from Asia, maybe China first, but I mean, with a big question mark. Now, what we're really working on, as I said, are the protocols. What measures are we going to take to protect the travelers and to protect the people in their visits in Morocco? So we're working on many different projects and many different scenarios. We're looking at all the best practices that are done around the world, whether it's Greece or Turkey or Peru or Thailand. You know, one of the strengths we have is we have offices all around the world. So we are in direct contact with the other countries. We know exactly what's happening, and we are compiling all that. So together with the authorities, we can put together the right plan for the reopening. It's not going to be tomorrow, that's for sure. It's going to take a while.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Well, again, I wanted to thank everyone so much for joining us. I think we did a pretty good time with our timing in terms of keeping it tight, but as you can tell, there's just so much to see and do in Morocco. But as you know, I'm here, and now you have a new best friend in Marrakech, Jean-Bernard. He's over there. So any questions you have in the weeks coming, months coming, you know how to reach us. And again, you'll be hearing from me again very soon with some follow-up destination guide, the video that we promised. And I also have a recipe that I'm going to send everyone too, so you can have some flavors of Morocco while you're at home. So Jean-Bernard, thank you again, and goodbye everyone. Stay safe, and until soon.